Hey, I welcome you back to this special edition of this presentation on that I've entitled The Container. So this is the third part, and we're looking at having a cursory look at the background of the character in question, Jake. Jake was diagnosed with ADHD, someone who was learning difficulties. Something occurred, and also that something occurred with his mother, and that was why he was referred to leave leave his family home. Well, to stop living with his mother in his late teenage years. From my experience as a teacher, I am still skeptical about him being an ADHD chap. He was one of the calmest young persons I have encountered in years. Compared to others I've dealt with in the very recent past, he was an absolute ADHD-free fellow. There are many ways that ADHD can manifest, but one thing that is really prevalent among those diagnosed with it is their restlessness. Jake was not at all a restless person. He could sit for hours just being on his phone or just listening to you talk to him. I know children who are ADHD diagnosed from my classroom, and I can tell clearly he presented as one with learning needs. Yeah, Jake did present as one with learning needs, maybe on the autistic spectrum somewhere, but that wasn't anything severe to the extent that he could not have completed learning and making something better out of his life. He got placed in accommodation where he was supported. He would occasionally self-harm and gain attention and to renew attention and gain it. He was in accommodated accommodation where he could have been supported to maybe address the issues that where he was dealing with and move on to becoming some respectable, responsible member of the society. But we notice the pattern every so often, like a month or after 6 weeks or so, he would self-harm just to get the attention and just maybe to remind us that, oh, I am still here, or I do have something wrong with me, while he actually didn't manifest anything of that sort. I would say he did complete secondary school, but he was barely literate and could not write legibly, as is the case of nearly everyone who showed up at our doors. According to him, he used to be a bodybuilder and a boxer. He was a good fighter who loved doing that. He was healthy and organized. I honestly cannot say at which point he went on the downward spiral trip in his life. When he showed me the photos from his past to how he had become obese, it was painful to see. It broke my heart so much that such a gentle, pleasant young chap would hate himself so much that he did not wish to make the best out of the opportunities he had while he lived at a supported service. I have met others, even though not many young people who had tough times plus health issues, but they were doing things to become independent and lead useful lives in the society. I totally agree that people are not the same. However, there is something called being responsible because nobody stays a child or young person forever. At some point, one is expected to grow up to be part of a society and play his or her role. We have had residents who apparently had learning difficulties. Such men and women were able to hold down part-time jobs and took charge of their affairs with guidance as necessary. They did not live in squalor while consuming all sorts of dangerous substances. There were many folks in underdeveloped parts of the world who would delightfully exchange places with many of the young people in the Western world to make great things out of their lives. So the bottom line here today is we all have demons from our pasts. We all have things that should make us give up, not move on, to make nothing out of our lives. But many people are working hard, tirelessly, doing the best they could to make advancements in their lives, while Jake wants to sit there and be spoon-fed, pampered, to do nothing with his life. That is truly sad. If you have children who are well, be thankful. May God help parents to look after their children, to be there for their children, so that they do not turn out to be like Jake.